Nora Speaks is a weekly podcast that tugs at the soul and consciousness of the Black community. With show topics such as youth empowerment, education, women's impact, and civic engagement, Nora Speaks challenges the listener to not only join the movement, but be the movement. On the show, you'll learn from insightful guests who have demonstrated capacity in these fields and more, and I'm your host, Nora Muhammad. Welcome to the show. Welcome to episode 168 of the Nora Speaks podcast. I am very happy to be with you for another week of conversation and insight that I am so grateful to share. And I'm grateful for you to come back week after week and listen to what I have to say in the way of uplifting and empowering my community. If you have not subscribed to the Nora Speaks podcast, I encourage you to do so. You can subscribe on the app that you're using to listen now. Nora Speaks podcast can be heard on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Amazon Music, Pandora, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, wherever podcasts are streamed. And you can follow Nora Speaks podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Nora Speaks podcast. Again, I'm so grateful to be back with you. And this week I'm talking about, and the subject of this episode is stealing ambitions. And you may say, what do I mean by that? Whose ambitions is being stolen and who is doing the stealing? Well, I would suggest that we are helping to rob our young people of their goals, of their dreams, of the excitement that they have in their youth as they are planning and looking forward to their future. Now that I am of a certain age and I have an awareness that is broader than I had when I was younger, and my ears are more tuned to language and suggestions in language, I recognize when I hear older folks or folks my age and older presenting negativity and what I also call dream killing suggestions to young people when they come to us with their goals, with their ideas, or with their plans for the future. And I always wonder, why is it and what is it about us that we want to see our children to stay in the same condition that we find ourselves in? What is it about us that when our children come to us full of excitement, full of that eager ambition, that we have this way, almost reflexive, of dampening their ambitions? And we don't just do this to our young people. We do this to our peers. We do this to our friends. We do this to our family members. But I am specifically in this episode speaking about our young people and how we impact them and how we influence them in ways that do not help them progress and achieve. What is it about us that we discourage our young people? And instead of promoting or creating an environment that's going to help foster their success, that's going to foster their ambition and creativity, that we come with our suggestions that's going to lead them in the opposite direction. When they're excited, we tell them to calm down, slow down. In the town that I live in and do a bit of work in, several years ago there was this major controversy because the local high school was set for demolition to make way for a brand new state-of-the-art high school. And the town that I'm in, it has a history of poverty, high crime, all leading in the wrong stats and behind in all of the good stats. And the school was so old. The school was so worn down in terrible conditions. And quite frankly, not only was it a dark school, low light school, but it was literally unsafe, unhealthy, and falling apart. And local activists came out to fight against the demolition of this worn down, torn down school. And there was, quite a bit of upheaval. Certainly there are people who have nostalgia and, an emotional tie to the building. But why would we want to keep a building that is unhealthy, that is dark, that is old, that is not modern? Why would we want to keep that when there was an opportunity for something brand new for our students? Any of us who've gotten a new car, we know what that feels like. Even if it's not a brand new car, but it's new to us. You get a car off the lot that's a pre-owned car, and it has the smell, it has the look, it has the feel, and it creates a feel for us. And I quite did not understand the anger that happened when we had this opportunity for our children to go into a brand new school. And I recall listening to some of the student athletes who go to the other schools around the county, around the state, who experience what it is like to be in a locker room that's actually usable, to be in a school that's actually functional. And then when they have to host games at their school with amenities that are not functional, a school that's dark, a school that's decaying and falling apart, and how that would impact their self-esteem and their confidence. So in that, I was somewhat confused. I did not grow up in the city of Camden. I moved to the city of Camden. I came to college here. So I don't have that emotional connection to this building. Although I think about my alma mater in the high school, and that school has underwent several renovations since my time there. And it's expected that when a facility is not modern, not in its best condition to suit the use of the facility, that you tear it down, you upgrade, you do what you need to do to support the intended use of that facility. So I have nostalgia for the school that I've come from. However, I know that when changes need to be made, then you tear it down or you do what you got to do so that the students can have what it is that they need. And so here I didn't understand. Certainly I recognize nostalgia in the edifice, but when the building is no longer suitable to meet its intended purpose, then it's got to go. And now that the school is ready to receive students, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, bright, state-of-the-art campus, I'm sure that those students who heard the activists, who were around for the protest, I'm sure that they're more excited to be walking into a brand new state-of-the-art school, and they prefer the brand new state-of-the-art school over the other dark, decaying, unsafe, unhealthy building. So I'm excited for those students. But what we do as adults is we put ideas in the heads of our children that the new exciting idea is just not good. It's almost unbelievable. We infer conspiracy theories to dampen the excitement that a child should have when we have the opportunity to put something new in front of them. But this is just an example when I'm talking about this local issue in my community, but it happens in the personal lives of young people. I see that you have a young person who, meets a young man or meets a young woman and, is excited about the potential of having a family, that we come in with our negativity and we start listing all of the things that can go wrong. And that list is long, but the list of all of the things that could go right is short. And, we tell our girls, for example, if they're thinking about marriage, we say, you need to go live your life. You need to go explore the world. And I say, well, there's a young man that wants to have a family with you, why can't you and that young man go start your lives together and explore the world together? Why must you be encouraged to do that by yourself? Our young men, they too receive discouraging ideas and suggestions that, oh, you're too young to start a family. You're too young to get married. And so we encourage them to go out and, sow their oats, so to speak, and go taste the world. And, we act with our boys and with our girls that, marriage is some kind of a prison, when instead marriage is freedom. And marriage is a beautiful foundation that will enhance and push creativity, increase our desires and ambitions to do more. And you have a partnership with someone who's committed to whatever goals that you set for yourself and for the family. You have that partner that you can build with, that you can rely on, where you can get consolation from. And so we discourage our young people, from starting families. And I've expressed on this podcast before the confusion that I have when we will give a baby shower for a 16-year-old girl, a 17-year-old girl, a 14-year-old girl. We'll throw her a major baby shower and she's pregnant, she's unmarried, she's totally not secured, she has no foundation, nor is she in a committed relationship. And we'll suggest, y'all don't need to get married. You're too young for that. But we're going to be excited about a child that's going to be coming into the world without the stability, without their parents committed to each other, without that child having the start. I say, are so backwards in our thinking. And what we do is we give them the details of our horror stories because we did not make good choices, because we did not follow decent guidance, and we take our frustrations out and use our own frustrations to stain the potential and future that our young people would have, and I think that's such a crime. That's such a crime. We have young people who want to create a meaningful start in their lives, and not just marriage and relationships, but also with their careers, with education, with business and entrepreneurship, with parenting. We have our young people who are excited, who are ambitious, and it's become such that they know that they can't even bring their excitement to us because they know that we're going to discourage them, because we're going to shoot down their ideas. And I know there's a difference. There's a difference between guiding our young people and anchoring them to reality, because our young people have not experienced a great deal of life. So they're going to need guidance. They're going to need us to, help support them and to kind of bring them out of the clouds from time to time. But there's a difference between guiding them and anchoring them to reality and killing their dreams and stealing their ambitions. There's a difference. And we do not show a great deal of sensitivity. And so in our communities, so much we have this support of repetitive failure. And our young people we put them on the same losing track that we've been on, that our friends have been on, that our family members have been on. And so we see repetitive failure, and we talk about, look down, uh, 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 gossip about those who take a different track and keep their ambitions and keep their excitement to forge a reality and a future for themselves that is unlike where they see some of us who are rooted in our repetitive failure. And so we talk down about them to our young people. And what I would suggest is that we have to understand what love is. And love is creating a foundation and promoting and fostering an environment where our young people can succeed beyond where we are, beyond what we've done. And maybe you and I do not have the knowledge of where our children want to see themselves in the future. But there's someone that we know, there's someone around us. If our children want to be successful in business, there's a businessman or a businesswoman. If our children want to be a medical provider, we so often tell them what they can't do, but we do not tell them what they can do. If your child wants to be a doctor, and maybe you don't have doctors in your family, talk to your child's pediatrician. Ask your child's pediatrician, is there some kind of mentoring group? Is there a word that pediatrician can put in the mind of your child to encourage him or her in pursuing, a future in medicine? There's so much that our children can do, but when they meet us in our own stale ideals from our own stale experiences, because we've been so frustrated from the repetitive error and mistakes that we've made, then we steal their ambitions, like pulling a rug right from under them. So we cannot be jealous of the opportunities that our children have. And yes, there are parents and there are aunts and uncles who are jealous of the young people and the freedom that they have to go out and experience life in ways that we haven't because of the choices that we made or didn't make. Nor can we be envious of those adults who are successful, who are living the lives that our children want to live, and then use that envy to sabotage our children from accessing the resources and the information and the knowledge that these people have to offer our children. We have to stop supporting repetitive failure. If we love our children like we say that we do, then we must create and promote an environment that's going to foster their success, their ambition, and their creativity. And if we have not been successful in those areas that our children want to get into, then we are probably not the best person to be giving advice. And as a parent, I would encourage you, be careful, be on the lookout for those people who are around our children, who are those dream killers, who want to rob our children of their great future, their potential, and their ambition, because they've done a bunch of nothing in their lives except create trouble and frustration for themselves and those around them. We must protect our children from those who are stealing their ambitions. And if you are a parent and you are listening to this, think about the kind of words that you give your children when they come to you with their ideas. Are you encouraging them? Or are you starting the sentence, yeah, but? We have a lot of yeah, buts when we're talking to one another. And we have to stop that. And so this episode is primarily, in discussing the way we sabotage our young people because we've not been successful, because we've made bad choices, because we've had failures. And now we want to take that bitterness and resentment and guide our young people. We shouldn't do that. That is totally unfair. We should help our young people be successful, acknowledge where we went wrong, acknowledge our own mistakes, and encourage our young people to do it better than we have. Listen, there are a lot of older women who made mistakes, who didn't listen, who are not living in their golden years, a reality that they should have, that they deserve. Make sure that those women don't stain the ambitions of your daughter. And if you got a bunch of older men that's around that are frustrated, that are bitter, that are resentful because they made a bunch of mistakes in their youth when they had the energy, when they had the freedom to go out and do something for themselves, watch that those old dudes don't go poisoning the minds of your sons and create another generation of irresponsible do-nothing men because they did nothing themselves. Let us protect our children, protect our young people from those people who have been redundant and repetitive losers who want to make our children the same. Please, please, our future is too bright, but we have those in our community, we have those in our families who don't know what success is, who don't want success for your children, for their children, and for other people's children. We have to protect our future. We have to protect the ambition and the potential, the gold mine that is in our young people. I want to thank you for listening to this episode of the Nora Speaks podcast. It's always a pleasure to come before you. And until next time, stay in peace. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Nora Speaks podcast. Be on the lookout for a new episode coming at you fresh next week. And as always, if you want to learn more about me and the work that I do, visit my website, norahmuhammad.com. Or if you have a listener question, email me at info@norahspeaks.com. You can also follow the Nora Speaks podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Nora Speaks Podcast. I'll be sure to include links in the show notes. If this show has value to you, please subscribe, rate, and review, and share it with family and friends. And be sure to check out previous episodes. And remember, don't just join the movement, be the movement. Stay in peace.